In today's video, we're going to talk about how to really become a graphic designer even without a degree. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Wine and Design. I've got my wine right over here, but I wanted to just talk with you guys, have a super casual conversation about how to really become a graphic designer. I know that there's so much information out there, and a lot of times we can tend to feel that imposter syndrome when we see so many designers online sharing their work. Honestly, there is a lot of designers, but there's room for everyone in this space, and I want to go over my journey as well as my tips for how to become a designer. I'm so sorry if I sound congested. I have been fighting a cold for the past 4 days. I'm kind of on the tail end of it, but I do have a little bit of a congested sounding voice, so please ignore that. But before we jump in, I also wanted to thank you guys so much for helping me reach my 10,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. This is definitely a milestone that I want to celebrate with you all and just show my appreciation. So I am offering a giveaway right now. The details for that will be linked down below, so we don't have to waste too much time about it. But I do have a box full of so many goodies, like an Apple Pencil, a Stanley water jug, some stickers, and access to my courses. So definitely get your hands on that. Go look at the details below and comment on my last YouTube video, and you will be entered to win that box, and I will personally ship it to you. Thank you guys so much. I really wanted to specifically make this video today. I thought about skipping it, but I'm like, no, I need to come on here, say thank you, and really just, express my gratitude for you guys helping me reach that number. So anyway, let's jump into my tips about how to become a graphic designer. Like I mentioned before, I really just want to keep this video super casual and have a conversation with you all about how I really got to where I am right now. And I have been designing for about 8 years now, which when I think about it, that's a really long time. And I feel like I've always kind of been designing on the side. I've been doing other jobs and having other passions, but graphic design just never went anywhere. It was one of the most consistent things that I had, and I think the reason for that is because I was good at it. I am good at it, and it's a passion for me. So I feel like it's okay to dabble in a lot of things, try a lot of different things, and really make sure that graphic design is something you want to do because you love doing it, not because you want to make money in it, because it is really possible, and there's a lot of graphic designers and website designers and creatives making a lot of money, but I really feel like that should never be the ultimate goal. It is a very exciting and awesome benefit of doing your passion, but ultimately I think you should get into this field and in this industry because you love doing it, because you have a passion for it. So now that I got that out the way, I do want to talk about, to kind of take it back a little, into my very first introduction into graphic design. And I do want to mention that having a degree and going to a college is not technically necessary to land clients and to get really successful big name clients. It's not needed. You do not need that piece of paper to show them, I've been in college and I've studied graphic design. Ultimately, it comes down to, are you really good at it or are you not? I think that if an employer has two portfolios in front of them, they're not going to base it on who went to college and who didn't. They're going to base it on what one looks better, because it's a visual field and we're in the creative field, so it's all about how you're showing up and how you look. But when I first got introduced to graphic design, I did go to college. I didn't go to college specifically for graphic design. I went to school for journalism. But lucky enough, my major in my college career, they required me to have an internship. So this is when I first got introduced to graphic design. I always knew that I kind of wanted to do it. And funny thing is, when I was 16 years old, we got a magazine, the 17 magazine, which is such a throwback. But we got that magazine, and in the magazine was an article where they interviewed a graphic designer. And even at a young age, I just was super fascinated with that type of career. And I didn't really pay attention to it too much, but when I did get into college and trying to decide what I want to do forever, that did pop back in my head, and I'm like, maybe that is something I'd like to do. but I didn't fully know yet. So when I got this internship, I actually was able to intern at a art museum in town, and I was able to shadow the graphic designer at that museum. And I was giving up my time for free. This was not a paid internship, but that is one of my biggest pieces of advice, is if you can shadow someone that's doing what you want to do, or if you can, intern for them or help, just give your time up to them to learn, that's a huge profit for yourself, and you're going to learn so much, and ultimately that could open a lot of doors for you. So I think it's okay to sometimes work for free, and I know that our craft and being a creative is definitely worth a lot of money, but I think in the beginning, when you're trying to figure out if it's something you want to do and when you don't have a lot of experience, it's okay to, use your time for learning and not for financial benefits. So when I was shadowing her, I luckily was getting credits for my whatever the class, I can't even remember the college terminology, but I was getting credits for shadowing and doing that internship, which taught me so much. That's when I really got to know Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator. I got to kind of see like the print of graphic design because we were printing lots of brochures and posters and things like that. So, and also that's when I really got to see like branding, because the museum itself had a really good brand, and we had those fonts and we had those colors, and I was able to see how the graphic designer made sure it was consistent across all designs. So subconsciously, I didn't know that. Looking back, I'm like, wow, I really did learn that that's what she was doing and that's how graphic design works. But I'm so glad I took that internship and was able to learn from her. It was like 6 months, 5 to 6 months, but I learned so much and I gained so much value from that. After that internship, that is when I was still in college. I was still trying to decide what I really wanted to do after college. I honestly didn't really know yet. I wasn't even sure if the creative field was what I wanted to do. But I know that some of you might be questioning, do I even need to go to college? Maybe you're trying to decide if you should go back to school or if you should drop out of school or whatever it is you're kind of contemplating. When I look back on my college experience, I am so grateful. I feel like although a lot of the things I'm doing now is self-taught, and I feel like college professors and kind of that archaic way of learning has a hard time keeping up with the really fast-paced, updates that the graphic design industry has, and it's like an ever-changing thing. So I feel like although I didn't learn a lot of the things I might be implementing now, I learned so much in the way of showing up professionally in life, as well as it gave me so many connections, and also it kind of like kept me really motivated. And I realized in college that the only way that you're gonna really succeed is if you're proactive, and it's all up to you. Like ultimately, I walked away from college knowing that the only way I'm gonna be successful is if I put in the work to make that happen. So I feel like college did give me a lot of benefits in the life skill arena, but I will say that a lot of the graphic design things I know were because I was proactive and decided to learn it on my own, and also because I put myself out there. And that brings me into my next part of my journey, which is when we had a speaker come to one of our classes and talk about an opportunity to be a project manager at a marketing agency. Now, going into this job, I didn't really have any standards for what I should be getting paid. I didn't even know if project management was the thing I wanted to do, but I knew that it would be a good opportunity for me to say yes to that, because they most likely are doing things that I enjoy in that agency. So I said yes, or they hired me, which was awesome. And for about 3 or 4 years, I was working for them, and we had graphic designers come in and design for us. And that's when I really, really learned a lot of what I'm doing now. I was able to watch one of the girls that came in design the logo for the company and really see how she creates those different variations of the logo. Honestly, it was that real life hands-on experience that taught me what I know now. So if I could give any advice, it is to put yourself out there, give your time up for free if you have to, shadow the people that you are inspired by, and really just get that hands-on experience. So after that company went under, I then decided to take matters in my own hand and start designing for an income using Upwork. and Upwork's a freelancing platform. When I first started on it, it was not super saturated. I was able to land clients pretty easily, but now it's crazy on there. You have to apply to like 20 plus a day to even land a conversation. So I feel like that was a really great timing in the universe for me to get on that platform. But that's when I started to understand that there's so many clients out there. And at this time in my graphic design career, I was designing for all types of industries. I was designing for realtors, for fitness people, for the most random things you could think of. I did not have a niche yet. And I think that's totally fine when you're starting out. You don't really need to niche down yet. But that's when I really got experience with the clients. And looking back, I had no sort of process. I really didn't even know. The clients were guiding me. I didn't have like a full-on branding experience for them. So that's when I really started getting into the client process. But during this time, I felt like I wasn't financially benefiting enough from what I was doing, and I needed the money to live. So that's when I actually went and got a job at a corporate company. And honestly, if I could give any advice, I think it's totally okay to work up to being a full-time designer. I feel like I am so glad that I did not jump at the opportunity to take my business full-time sooner, because I probably would have been designing for money rather than for passion. And it was during these corporate companies and all these other job offers that I took on that I got to save a lot of money and make sure that I'm financially prepared to own a business and run a business, because there's so many things that come along with a business. There's expenses, health insurance, there's taxes, there's all these things that add up to make running a business a little bit more tricky than you might think right off the bat. It's definitely possible, and I think that if you jump right into it, that's awesome. You just have to be really proactive and good about saving and keeping track of, how many clients you can land and making sure that you're constantly having a good marketing plan. So yeah, honestly, if I could give another piece of advice, it is to be patient and to save before you take your business full time. Really glad I waited too, because I was able to figure out what type of designer I want to be. And that's when I realized I love doing branding, I love doing logos, I love doing websites too. So I was like, branding and websites are my thing, and I love that. So when I left the corporate job and I left my other job where I worked from home, I knew exactly the path I wanted to take. I knew that I was already landing enough clients, and I knew that I'd be able to support my lifestyle as well as, keep my business running smoothly. So that's kind of a little quick summary. I have a full video on my journey with like pictures and stuff, but that's a little summary of like how I got to where I am. That's a course of over 7 years of experience in different jobs and industries, and finally being able to take that leap into full-time. So I feel like now that I am a full-time business owner in graphic design, I'm able to share my experiences even more and share what I've learned so much more, because I've gone through a lot of different, paths and industries and all that. So if I could give any piece of advice, if you are thinking about whether you want to go to college or not, or if you just want to jump right into graphic design, number one thing is to get hands-on experience, intern, give your time up for free if you have to learn and get that experience. Number two would be to be patient, to save up, and make sure that you're ready to take a business on financially. That way you can do design because you love it and not because you want to make money. Number three, this one is really just about the type of person you are. I feel like in this industry and as in entrepreneurship in any sort of industry, you have to be super proactive. You cannot wake up in the morning and expect things to come to you. You have to be the one posting every single day, putting yourself out there, applying to those different client opportunities, and being proactive enough to land the clients of your dreams. So it's definitely not for everybody. I think also working from home is not for everybody. So you have to kind of make sure that this is a path you want to go into before you drop everything and commit to just this. Make sure it's something you really want to do. And I personally feel if you are passionate about it, you are going to be consistent. If you're passionate about it, just, stay true to that and be consistent with it. Put yourself out there and honestly just make beautiful designs. My last tip for if you want to become a graphic designer is to educate yourself constantly. As a graphic designer of over 8 years now, I'm still learning every single day. I like to, you know, buy courses, learn online, do all the things I need to do to make sure that I am never getting stagnant in this industry. So definitely make sure you're always educating. So those are all my tips on how to become a graphic designer in 2023. Honestly, this probably works for every year to come, but those are my tips on how to become a graphic designer. I really hope this was helpful to you. Thank you guys again so much for 10K. I really appreciate you. Go sign up for that giveaway before it ends on Thursday this week, so definitely go sign up for that. And if you've missed the giveaway and you're watching this later, go snag my freebies down below. I always have some free resources. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.